State versus David Heil. Okay, let's go back on the record. All counsel is present at this time. Before we go any farther, I've read the affidavit on this matter, and I want to be sure of the defendant's full name. Sir, is your name David Wayne Heil?
Yes, it is.
Are you a junior, second, third?
No, I'm just David Wayne Heil.
Okay, your father has the same name? Is that correct?
No, my father is Paul R. Heil Jr.
Okay. To your knowledge, in your family, is there another David W. Heil?
To my knowledge, no, not to my knowledge.
Or do you have a brother that's David J. Heil?
No, my attorney went everything over with me, and it was all my mistake.
Because I don't want to get into the facts. Right now, I'm just trying to clarify names.
Yes.
Certain. Okay. So your legal name is David Wayne Heil. All right.
Yes, sir.
Counsel, I'll hear you.
Judge, this is a case where there is one count of criminal trespass. My client is not going to request a trial going forward, but he will be entering a plea of no contest.
Is there any other agreement?
Judge, at the time of sentencing, there will be a different request for a controlling term by both parties. Although the rest of it, I think, is fairly well agreed to, that there's no fine, that's court costs, determine attorney fees, that $60 probation fee, and an agreed recommendation for probation. Again, though, the term of probation length might be something that's argued differently. And that as a condition of any probation, no contact with the property or the victims.
All right. Mr. Regier, is that your understanding as well?
More or less, Your Honor. From the state understands that an agreement has not yet been reached on any prospective jail sentence or the length of probation. So the state does intend to advance arguments on that, as well as, besides the no contact order, the state does further intend to recommend that the defendant, if the case proceeds to disposition day, that the defendant be ordered to complete a mental health evaluation and follow all recommendations.
All right. Mr. Patterson, does that change anything in regards to your client's position?
No, Judge. We understood the state was going to request that. We'll be opposing.
All right. Okay, Mr. Heil, have you had sufficient time to discuss this with Mr. Patterson?
Yes, I have.
Have you had an opportunity to, and has he explained to you your rights in regards to a trial on this matter?
Yes, he has, Your Honor.
Do you understand that with a no contest plea, while you're not pleading guilty or admitting guilt, you're also not challenging that? Generally what happens is the state offers a proffer of what their evidence would be. That's just a statement. Normally it's kind of what's in the supporting paperwork to the complaint. And if on a no contest plea, if the court finds that if that information was true, if there's sufficient evidence to find a person guilty, then you'd be found guilty.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I understand.
And you understand that while counsels can certainly argue for certain things in regards to sentence, the court is not bound to that, even if there's an agreement such as...
Yes, he explained that too, sir.
All right. You understand, let's see, you're charged with criminal trespass. That's a Class B non-person misdemeanor. Just as a reminder, a B misdemeanor is punishable up to 6 months in the county jail and a fine not to exceed $1,000.
Yes, sir.
All right. And with those things in mind, are you pleading no contest at this time?
Yes, no contest, Your Honor.
Has anybody forced or coerced you in some fashion to enter this plea?
No.
Are you under the influence of any medications or intoxicants at this time?
No, I'm not, Your Honor.
Are there any medications that you're supposed to be taking that would help you see or think clear, that sort of thing?
No, I take no medications at all, Your Honor.
Okay, and you're not prescribed type of medications?
No prescriptions or anything, sir.
Very well. All right. I do find, and Mr. Regier, what would the state's evidence be if this matter were tried?
Your Honor, were this case to proceed to trial, the state's evidence would show that on August 15th, 2025, well within the appropriate statute of limitations, law enforcement was dispatched to a storage unit business in specifically located in Andover, Butler County, Kansas. It would appear that law enforcement made contact with an individual who identified himself by name as David Heil, who does appear to be the defendant in this case. It would appear that he made claims to law enforcement that he had a legal right to be on the property because he had inherited from a dead relative who had passed approximately 6 years prior. However, it was subsequently determined that the individual did not rent any storage units on the property, which gave him no reason to be on the property without permission. Additionally, additionally, law enforcement made contact with a third-party family member who confirmed that they were still living, and that again, the defendant did not have any legal right to be on the premises.
And the affidavit indicates this storage unit place had a locked gate, and the defendant gained entry by another tenant who had a storage unit there. Is that?
That's what the state's evidence would likewise show, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Patterson, any challenges?
No, Your Honor.
Very well. I do find that the plea is knowingly and voluntarily entered with the advice of good counsel. Additionally, that a factual basis for a no contest plea has been offered that is sufficient, and to support the elements of the offense. I do find David Wayne Heil guilty of criminal trespass, a Class B misdemeanor. And I will hear recommendations of sentence at this time, unless counsel's needing a different date for that.
Ready to proceed, Your Honor.
State is prepared to proceed, Your Honor.
Mr. Regier.
Yes, Your Honor. Under the particular facts of this case, as stated out in the affidavit, the state is prepared to recommend no fine, that the court impose appropriate court costs and determine appropriate attorney fees. The state is not aware of any restitution requests currently before the court in this matter. Given the particular facts of this case, as the court had previously addressed in the affidavit, the state is recommending the maximum underlying sentence for a Class B misdemeanor of 6 months, but that the defendant be granted probation for a period of 12 months. The state is recommending reporting probation subject to all standard conditions with no contact with the victim or the business at issue. The state is further recommending that the defendant be ordered to complete an appropriate mental health evaluation and follow all recommendations of the same.
Thank you. Mr. Patterson?
Judge, we would ask the court to adopt a controlling sentence of 120 days, ask the court to grant probation for a 6-month period. Judge, the reason we are asking for that sentence is as follows. First of all, from the affidavit, and I think also from talking to my client, it becomes clear that my client was under some name confusion and had been led to believe that possibly he had an inheritance issue there. He went there not sneaking around, jumping fences, but he went there to get information, and that's all he did. And then he went next door to the business next to the storage units, spoke to a Jason Grimes at that other business, and started asking additional questions, trying to get information about the storage unit, and that he believed that maybe he had some ownership interest. So it's just a matter of that he was gathering information. Should he have went into the storage unit when another tenant unlocked it and opened the door and him going to the office? No, he probably should not have, and he knows that. I think the court can tell he's apparently thinking very clearly, doesn't have any trouble, is telling the court it was a mistake, that he doesn't have a mental health issue, that needs to have a order that he obtain a mental health evaluation based upon the observations we have of him here today. So, Judge, there really wouldn't be any conditions of a probation for him to needs a long time to carry out. So that's why we think a 6-month probation is appropriate in this case. Nothing further.
Where does Mr. Heil live?
Judge, if I can defer to my client.
Okay, Mr. Heil?
I live in Gypsum, Kansas. It's just 20 minutes southeast of Salina.
Okay. Do you have any business interest or properties in Butler County?
No, I do not.
Is there any reasons you need to be in Butler County for other matters,
No, sir. Not
other
at all.
than this case, perhaps?
Yeah, it was just for this case.
Mr. Heil, is there anything additionally you'd like to tell me in regards to these events before I pronounce sentence?
No, it's just all my mistake and my misunderstanding.
Well, and I had some questions about names and so forth. You indicated that your father had an interest in this. Is your father passed away?
Yeah, he passed away.
You indicated to some folks that was 6 years ago. Why would you believe you had an inheritance into this property from something?
It all started with a phone call from a roofing company that went on that I thought it was a scam for about a year. And they were persistent about getting a hold of me and asking about estimates about re-roofing my storage units. And I kept saying, I don't have any. They talked to my wife. My wife told me to give them a chance to listen to them. I listened to them, and obviously it was wrong. So I come down here to pursue to find out what was going on. And he even forwarded me pictures and documentations on the computer that showed, my name was on the business. And he asked me if I had any living relatives around the Wichita area. I said, well, my dad had passed away here just a few years ago. And he said, well, you might want to look into it because you might have inherited this property. And at the address and everything that he sent me, at the bottom, it had my name, my address, everything in Gypsum, to where, that I was legal owner of the property. And so I went down to investigate, and I probably went further than I should have, sir.
Well, Mr. Heil, if you were just asking questions, that had been one thing, but the witness seemed to indicate that you were telling people you were the owner, you had paperwork, you just didn't have it with you.
And I never said I had paperwork. I said that I'm looking to find out what's going on, and I do believe that I'm going to be the future owner of the property. I did say that, sir. But I should have done more investigation and everything before I opened my mouth. And I take full responsibility for that.
All right. Is there anything else you want me to consider before I announce my sentence? Are you employed? What's your status that way?
I just talked to my attorney right before this came back on and told him 3 weeks ago at Sunbelt Solomon, I put in an application. My brothers worked there for 11 and a half years, and they want me to do a pre-employment and drug screen Monday at 8:30 a.m. at ComCare.
Okay. We've mentioned one brother. Well, I guess you claim this David.
I just have one brother. I am no relation to any of them Hiles whatsoever.
Okay, so your father, to the best of your information now, never had any business interest in this case. Is that correct? Or this?
That's correct.
Well, I don't know I've ever seen anything quite along these lines, but
This case is against a man who claims he was wrongly led to believe he had rights or inheritance in a storage property. He went to the storage unit based on that belief, but he had no legal right to be there. According to law enforcement and witnesses, he entered the property without permission. In court, he himself admitted it was a misunderstanding and a mistake, and he later entered a no-contest plea.
based upon your agreements with the Butler courts?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Howell, how long will it take you to get these things paid?
Give me 90 days. What's the total, Your Honor, sir?
I haven't added them up.
I have
Okay.
358. Well, I guess it's I gave it traffic costs, so it's higher than that. 408 is what I show.
I can pay that by the end of the month. I have that saved up at home.
Okay. And you're saying you can have it done by December 31st?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. I'm going to, and this employment that you're talking about, would it, to your knowledge, if you gain that employment, is that going to need to put you in Butler County for anything?
No, it'll be in, Solomon is in Dickinson County. It's only like 15 minutes from Salina, maybe 22 minutes from Gypsum.
Okay, but it doesn't have trucking or things where you'd need
No,
to
no,
make
no.
deliveries?
No,
Okay.
it's northeast of Salina.
All right. As I stated, I'm going to give you a 120-day jail sentence, controlling jail sentence. I will place you on probation for a period of 1 year or 12 months. That'll be a non-reporting probation. The conditions are no contact with this property, no contact with the owners, legitimate owners of this property, and no, if you don't have any other business here, that's why I'm placing you on non-reporting probation. So, but I'm not going to bar you from being there. But what'll happen is generally on a non-reporting probation, and I'm going to give you 60 days to have it all paid off. So that's more than that you indicated you need. If it's all paid off and you have no law violations at the end of that 12 months, your non-reporting probation would be served and be closed. However, if you don't get that paid, or if you have new law, any other law violations, that would also be a violation of your probation. I tell people that when I'm placing them on probation, you're an adult. You seem to understand what you're doing as far as you don't appear to be impaired in some fashion. So if you're not going to comply with the conditions of probation, which in this case is going to be very minimal, I'll probably look at it if you found to be in violation of your probation, that you're just telling me you want to serve your time. So
No, I'll abide by them.
okay. So
And where do I send payment, or where can I bring the payment to? Or
you'll pay it through the clerk of the district court. You can contact them following your release, or perhaps Mr. Patterson's office can give you the information, but you can probably with a phone call find out what you need to do so that you
Okay.
can make those payments. But I'll give you 60 days to get that all taken care of. And we'll expect not to see you in this capacity in the future.
no, sir.
All right. Counsel, anything further? Anything I'm overlooking?
From the state, Your Honor.
Nothing further.
Very well. And I will give him credit for time served on this case. And he may be released once he's been processed out at the Butler County Jail.
Thank you, Your Honor.
After hearing both sides, the court found the defendant guilty of criminal trespass. He was sentenced to 120 days in jail, but placed on 12 months of probation. The judge ordered no contact with the property or its owners and required payment of all court costs. The court warned that any violation of probation would result in jail time.